we are seeing that realised pricing for iron ore is at 97% of Platts for the year. So that's a little bit lower than what they've traditionally done. And that speaks to, potentially how the iron ore miners are producing into, supply chain problems that they've had previously. So we would expect that that with the current optimism around reopening, that headline iron ore prices would tactically be higher in the short term before potentially giving way into the second half as we see some more supply come online.
Got it. And to meet that incremental demand, what's going to happen to capex spending and in terms of an expansion on mining operations? What are you looking at there, Rob?
Yeah, that's another good question. So whilst demand is really robust at the moment, and we're seeing really optimistic pricing considering where we were about a quarter ago, unfortunately the miners have a lot of constraints in being able to bring on that supply. Some of those constraints are by design, with their capital allocation policies and the like, but some of them are also operationally driven due to years of, in Rio Tinto's case, of investment in their supply chains. And so what we could expect to see over the next sort of coming years is a slow trickle of capital, but we're seeing across the board in terms of the major iron ore producers in this instance that they don't really have significant plans to expand capacity, and that should lead to a tighter market in the medium to longer term.
Rob, I got to ask you, China reopening bets. If you take a look at gauge of Aussie mining stocks, it's at an all-time high. If you take a look at copper, which obviously Rio is involved in, it's past 9,000 a ton. Do you think the market is getting a little ahead of itself?
Look, potentially on the base metals, because obviously with the ferrous complex, so with iron ore and met coal, they're a prime China exposure. But when we talk base metals, they're much more skewed to rest of world growth, and there is a potential recession on the horizon, and Dr. Copper never lies, and so expecting this optimism around copper and alloy in this case, that we potentially see that being at risk as the year unfolds. So our preference is for ferrous metals or steel raw materials over base here, and the key way to play that's obviously from an Australian perspective, iron ore.